Hi Curious and welcome back. Hailing from the UK, Ollie London is probably the biggest fan of Jimin, one of the members of the K-pop band BTS, and he's been able to do a lot for his idol, and we're not just talking about going to concerts, buying records, or surrounding himself with gadgets bearing the star's likeliness. Ollie literally wants to look like Jimin and has already undergone 18 surgical procedures to make those dreams come true. But that is not all. After the recent surgeries, London has also stated that he has changed his race and identifies himself as Korean from now on, and many internet users did not like this at all. The young influencer was subjected to a barrage of accusations, which we'll talk about in our episode, and you will also find out about Ollie's obsession with K-pop stars and how it began. What procedures did he go through to make himself look like Jimin, and what does he think about the hate that has flooded his social media accounts? Get the details on one of the most talked about scandals of the last few days, but before we go any further, make sure you give us a thumbs up, turn on the notifications, and subscribe to our channel. Ollie London's road to fame began several years ago when he began appearing on reality TV shows, and appearances on Hooked on the Look, Barcroft TV, and series Botched on E, where also the beginning of his adventure with body modification procedures started. And by January of 2020, London had undergone 15 surgeries, spending nearly $150,000 on all of them. And this was all in an effort to look much like his biggest idol, Jimin from the band BTS. He also talked about his obsession with social media, and this over time resulted in thousands of fans on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. On the other hand, the whole fascination with the K-pop stars started much earlier, when the Brit lived in South Korea for a few years. It was there that he started watching the stage performances of the band BTS and quickly decided that Jimin was the walking ideal. First, it began with Ollie starting to collect all kinds of gadgets related to his idol, and these included life-size cardboard figures of the singer, which the Brit literally took to restaurants and went to bed with him. He soon decided that that wasn't enough, since he couldn't be with the real Jimin. He wanted at least to look like him, and it was then that he visited an aesthetic medicine clinic for the first time. And it started with a nose job. To achieve the desired shape, he underwent a series of procedures, first in Korea, then in China, Poland, Armenia, and again in Korea. He underwent chin bone contouring and jaw reduction, reducing his cheekbones, and also began to modify his entire figure. First, he removed the fat from his breast glands and later also decided to undergo liposuction, which is the removal of fat from the other parts of the body. The influencer wanted to look as Korean as possible, so he removed excess skin from his eyelids, surgically lifted his eyebrows, and to top it all off, he also decided to undergo a number of procedures using filters and Botox. And in one of the interviews, he also admitted to skin whitening injections, and the total bill for all of these surgical interventions amounted to almost $150,000. Ollie is not the record holder in this regard. However, the title definitely goes to Rodrigo Alves, who spent millions on over 150 surgeries to make him look like Ken and then like a Barbie doll. Anyway, you can learn much more about this journey to find the ideal in our episode The Human Ken Doll, and now as Barbie, and he wants to have a child, the link to which is being displayed above on your screen now. But let's continue with our story of Ollie London, and after undergoing all the modifications, he proudly showed off his new face and even claimed, and we quote, "If you look at the pictures of me and Jimin, you will immediately notice that we are identical. And when I was in Korea and walking down the street, everyone called me Jimin and thought I was him." Ollie finally felt happy and proud to look like the K-pop singer, and although it might seem that after fulfilling his dreams he won't surprise with anything more, the opposite happened. The Brit decided to get married. In one of the most popular chapels in Las Vegas, he stood in front of the altar with a cardboard effigy of his idol, and the entire ceremony was led by a man dressed as Elvis. And afterward, the influencer confessed that it was a very emotional moment for him, as he's extremely happy that first, thanks to the surgeries, he could look like Jimin, and now still marry him. And weddings with extremely unusual partners have been quite popular recently. In our episode Strange Weddings, people marry dogs, dolls, or holograms. You will get to know some of the most unusual couples, and we can safely say that Ollie and his cardboard husband are adding to that list. And the protagonist of today's video, through all of his actions, has become one of the most extreme examples of Asiaboo, or Koreaboo, and that is people obsessed with Asian culture who are not born as Korean but still want to become them and under the influence of K-pop culture. BTS fans even refer to Ollie as sasang, a term used for fan stalkers who show no respect for the band's members' private lives. And London, despite criticized and ridiculed, has also become a top-ranked European K-pop artist with several hits in the style of music at this point, and he shares his songs with fans on his YouTube account and has also amassed millions of views under most of them. And on top of that, there has been a lot of buzz about Ollie London again the past few days. The influencer decided to undergo more surgeries to change his facial features to be even more Korean, and he posted a video on Twitter on his eye surgery, which now looks exactly like Jimin's, according to the influencer. Through YouTube, he also decided to share recent thoughts, and in the latest video he confessed that he no longer feels like he's British and is starting to identify himself as Korean from now on. However, this didn't sit well with many internet users, especially those of Asian descent, and there were plenty of comments under the video with the accusations of the cultural appropriation, and some wrote the fact that the influencer decided to change his body does not make him a real Korean, and others accused him of racism and said that a white European cannot pass himself off as Asian. And another online storm erupted when London announced that he had also become a non-binary person and shared a South Korean flag in a rainbow colors via Twitter, writing, quote, "This is the new flag of the non-binary person who identifies as Korean," and criticism towards him reached a climax, with comments writing that it's offensive to the entire culture of that part of the world and to an important national symbol. And in response to the attacks, the influencer stated that the image he posted was the official flag that the LGBT organizations in Korea use, but even media outlets interested in the whole matter were unable to determine which organizations London was referring to. He also put himself in a position to speak out on the heckling that he has become a victim of in the recent days. In an interview with the Sun newspaper, he said that he has always believed in freedom of speech and being able to choose how to identify ourselves. But unfortunately, in today's culture, it seems that no one can have a different opinion or a lifestyle from what is considered acceptable. And he also wrote on Instagram, and we quote, "Yes, I identify as Korean. Yes, I am non-binary. Yes, I look like Jimin. But none of that should be a reason to kick me out of society and shame me for who I am." London confessed that he feels he was born into the wrong body and the wrong country, but many people don't understand that anyone can identify as a different ethnic group or culture. Meanwhile, in his latest statement sent to the Sky News, he also said that he never planned to cause any controversy with his statements on social media. And so curious, what do you think about all of the fuss about Ollie London? Do you think that his confession about being Korean deserves criticism? Do you know examples of other fans who, like him, are ready to do anything for their idols? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our future videos. Until next time.